15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him. No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person.
I think there's probably one moment where I've actually talked about Katt publicly, and this was when...
I think it was on Breakfast Club.
My frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy.
Yeah.
You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose.
Katt Williams just stepped into the chat and dragged Kevin Hart for filth again for selling himself to Diddy in exchange for cheap fame. Katt has been going in on Kevin for years, and it doesn't look like their beef will be slowing down anytime soon. He's not letting up on Kevin, and he never misses a chance to remind Kevin that he sold himself to the industry just so he can be his replacement. According to Katt, Kevin is a pawn who was used to get more black men into emasculating themselves just to be in Hollywood. The crazy thing is, Kevin actually came for Katt a while ago when he called Katt a raging substance addict. And since then, it's been up. Katt had Kevin pressed to the ground last year when he brought him up on Shannon Sharp, and it looks like he's about to have him crashing out again. Now, as I said earlier, Katt and Kevin have been going at it for years. But the peak of it was a year ago when Katt appeared on Club Shay Shay and slammed Kevin for being an industry plant. He said Kevin's entire career was handed to him by some industry executives because Kevin sold his soul to them. According to Katt, these execs initially tried to get him to be their little puppet in exchange for the opportunities they were now given to Kevin. But when he made it clear that he wasn't going to compromise his morals, they blackballed him and pulled Kevin in as his replacement. Katt said none of the stories Kevin tells about his come up is true, and that he just makes all of it up to deceive folks into thinking he hustled his way to the top, when all he really did was sell his soul to his masters.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I hate to seem like a petty individual for picking apart lies. That's why, do you know what the #1 job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen.
Now see, the reason Katt got nasty with Kevin in this interview was because Kevin's success came at the cost of his downfall. Katt wasn't the type to bend to the rules of the industry no matter what, and that's why they pushed him out to usher Kevin in. Kevin was willing to do whatever was being asked of him without any questions. During Katt's interview with Shannon, he even brought up the exact situation that led to the industry making the final decision to get rid of him, and it turns out it had to do with the movie Friday After Next. Apparently, the producers wanted to make a scene that involved Katt getting brutally SA'd by Terry Crews in the bathroom because they thought it would be funny to see a huge muscular black man dominate a small black man in the bathroom. Katt, on the other hand, wasn't having any of the foolishness, and he straight up told them he wasn't gonna do it. Katt said he later had to help them write another scene in replacement of that, but everyone made him feel like he was being stubborn. And Terry Crews even tried talking him into it as well. After they filmed the movie, he was blacklisted, and every movie he was scheduled to do was snatched from him and given to Kevin.
The truth of the matter is, the Money Mike in the original script got in the bathroom, and that's what Ricky Smiley was okay with. Katt Williams had to take the risk in front of the studios and the cast and our powers that be in his very first movie and say respectfully, humbly, guys, If we're talking about anything else, I have no credibility and I have no pull. But we're talking about comedy,
Right.
where I have all the credibility and all the pull. The problem with Friday After Next is we're trying to make a classic comedy. And this comedy involves and is never funny, no matter who it happens to or what the circumstances are. If you would allow me to allow us to do this movie without a black man getting in it, I promise you that it will be twice as funny as it would be with him getting. So considering that's the real story, why would you bring up that story? For a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk, that all I had said was, just, can we take some of this step and fetch out? And then I can do it. Like, it don't need to be overtly because I'm not all right? It doesn't need that to be funny, right? And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem, and then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was and acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard. But yeah, it's interesting, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
The crazy thing is, at the time all this happened, Katt wasn't the only black actor that the industry was trying to emasculate. At the time, there was a serious black men emasculation epidemic in Hollywood, and it got so bad that Dave Chappelle had to run away to South Africa and stay there for years because they were trying to unalive him for refusing to help push the agenda of making black men effeminate. Child, even Kevin was made to join this agenda. But unlike Katt and Dave, he gladly did what they asked him because, well, he's a puppet. At least that's what Katt says. So basically, Dave Chappelle appeared in an interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2006, where he spilled the tea about the time the producers of a movie he was doing with Martin Lawrence tried to get him to wear a dress against his will.
I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. Like, when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a and he put this dress on and, what? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You're right. So why don't we just not do it? Because I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress. Oh, come on, Dave, listen, we got it all set up. We're supposed to shoot. Every minute you waste costs this much money. You know, the pressure comes in. He said, I'm not wearing no dress, man. I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. What am I, Milton Berle? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then, like, the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress.
But this is where things get even more interesting because Dave said the producers had another script ready just in case they didn't succeed in getting him to wear the dress and cosplay as a woman.
The minute it was clear, I was adamant. I'm not wearing a dress. I'm not wearing the dress. All right, fine. Think of something else. That comes back 10 minutes later. The whole new scene. Hot damn, how did you write the scene so fast? You know, it's like, so.
When Kevin was later asked what he thought about Dave refusing to wear the dress, he pretended like he was with Dave and even said he would never put on a dress because it went against his morals. But guess what? Not even a month after saying this man popped out on SNL wearing a dress and a whole lace front.
Dave Chappelle, another great comedian, said that, you know, in the industry, they tried to make him wear a dress. Have you ever ran into that with scripts and is that something that, you know, you wouldn't do, you know, for
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. For me, I know what they are. They've yet to been challenged, so, I don't have to speak on them. I was asked to dribble a basketball on the talk show this morning.
You look
said
good
no to
doing
that. Not that was a dress, but I was like, no, I'm going to look stupid. At the end of the day, you got to know that you're a brand. I'm a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times. When things happen that can possibly affect your brand, your brand can be diminished, and you don't want that to happen. So, protecting my brand is definitely a priority.
The Cardinals, and from the looks of it, the new pope is not Turkson. The new pope is 9-year-old Oscar nominee Kavajane Wallace.
Wow. I don't think anyone saw this one coming.
He received a lot of backlash for this, and it got so bad that he got on Twitter and started crashing out. But baby, no one cared. He said at the time, I wore a dress on SNL because I thought it was funny. I made that decision. Nobody made it for me. I am my own boss. Katt was later asked what his thoughts were on Kevin wearing a dress, and he said it wasn't Kevin's fault that he wore that dress because he was just part of a long line of black men being made to wear a dress in order to transition to that next level of fame.
I'm saying at the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So now we had Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next.
People believe that Kevin wearing that dress was his final form of humiliation ritual to get everything he wanted. While he was now being given all these opportunities, Katt was being blackballed and even started making up rumors that Katt was a substance addict.
The reason I don't do coke, Big Tigger, is because I had a tumor in my upper jaw and they had to take it out. And they had to block the whole right of my sinus with a piece of metal. So ever since I got out the Marine Corps, I can only breathe out of one nostril, boy. I get my blood tested every 3 months for the last 15 years. All narcotic tests have come up 0.00%. I'm 44 years old, little Tigger. You look up my rap sheet. I have never had a DUI or a possession of anything, not even the I do every day. See, when you real, you can tell the truth about anything or anybody.
As y'all can see, Katt wasn't here for the addict allegations, but for some reason, Kevin was still pushing that narrative, and he took it too far in 2018 when he got on The Breakfast Club with Tiffany Haddish and accused Katt of choosing substances over his career. He called Katt a failure and said the reason why Katt isn't where he thinks he should be is because he chose to be a instead of focusing on his career. So now, not only was Kevin enjoying everything that Katt was supposed to have, but he was now on the radio telling the world that Katt was a kid.
My frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy.
Yeah.
You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You f***ed off promo shoots. You f***ed off your promo trips that they had set up for you. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose.
Okay.
Take responsibility for what you chose and say, you know what? I got to fix me, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to stand up for comedy. Mm-hmm. So when you say Tiffany Haddish doesn't deserve or isn't really a comedian and these other women have worked hard, which they have. Mm-hmm. Shouts out to Melanie Camacho. Shouts out to Lunel. Mm-hmm. Shouts out to Leslie Jones, who are all underneath the umbrella of Katt Williams. Katt Williams, have you ever used your platform to bring the people that were under you up? Mm. You haven't. So because you haven't, don't shit on those that now are. I've used my platform and I've brought my guys and girls up. Mm-hmm. The brand of Kevin Hart is a brand that's expanded so far, whether you like me or not. My presence in comedy will forever be felt because I'm a boss. I sit on the top of it, and the opportunities that I'm giving are the ones that I'm creating. So take responsibility for what you did. You. Nobody else did. You don't hear Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, the Kings of Comedy, Seinfeld. You don't hear George Lopez, Eddie Griffin. You don't hear who else can I go down the road of other comedians? Steve Martin, Martin Short. You don't hear the guys that got on top and that made it by doing what they love complain about the people that are coming under them. The reason why is because they're happy with themselves. Don't blame everybody else for your Don't on my sister Light because you're not happy with your
But Katt didn't let the crackhead allegations slide, and he hopped on IG Live to call Kevin out for making up lies about him. Now, you'd think that after all this back and forth, Kevin would just accept that he wasn't wrong, but he actually doesn't. He later appeared in an interview with Charlamagne, and he disrespected Katt again. He brought up that interview on The Breakfast Club where he called Katt an addict, but instead of apologizing for lying on that man, he said he regrets ever even responding to Katt because he isn't worth the response in the first place. He said Katt is irrelevant and that he didn't gain anything beneficial from even going back and forth with him. He was better off staying quiet and allowing Katt to run with whatever narrative he wanted to run with.
If you have real problems with people, and your problems are like serious, it's not hard to ever get to a person and really like address the problem correctly. The problems that people have with me, they aren't my problems. So the idea of being petty or going back and forth, it's so beneath me because I don't have the problem. And I feel like if I engage, it makes it look like I got a problem. We were promoting night school, and Tiffany was affected by some of the things he said. And it was more of a like support for her in that moment and like some shots at him.
Do you regret that?
Yeah, I shouldn't even talk. I should never address him like, at all. I don't have to. What? Like, why? What will it do for me? What will I gain? There is no gain. So I look at everything from a business and economic standpoint. Like, if I'm investing in something, well, what is my return? What's the return on my investment? What's the return on my time? What's the return on my energy? What's the return on my investment? So that investment of self, words, dialogue brings me what? What? And if I can't answer that question, or if people around me can't answer that question, then it doesn't get an inklet of energy. So it has nothing to do with people feeling like they're above, people feeling like they're better. No, it has to do with a strong understanding of you and like yourself, level of awareness. Like I can check all these boxes. But to some, they want to take it or...
Woo, child. Kevin really wants this smoke, y'all. Now, Katt didn't respond immediately to this, but at this point, he's learned how to ignore Kevin. However, just when Diddy's trial started, word has been going around that Katt has been saying behind the scenes that the reason Kevin was able to sustain a good relationship with industry people like Diddy is because he's one of them, and they know he'll do just about anything to be in their circle. Now, this might sound mean, but you need to remember that Kevin started this, and if you look at his history, he does seem to have a pattern of overlooking his morals just to be in the spotlight. I mean, he swore he wasn't gonna wear a dress and then popped out in a dress. If that doesn't tell you the kind of man he is, then baby, I don't know what will. As usual, people had their own thoughts, like this person who said, I remember Kevin saying he was never gonna wear a dress and sell out. He said it was black humiliation. See him in a dress on SNL? Less than a year later, Katt was spot on. Another person said, while Katt seems to simply speak what he considers as the truth, Kevin, on the other hand, always attempts to diss or make mockery of Katt. I just can't see Kevin the same anymore. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of Katt dragging Kevin for filth? And do you believe Diddy really chose Kevin because he is a puppet? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.